And then the other question I had is, you have a view which I think is different than many others, which is that AI is not going to take blue-collar jobs so quickly, but is actually going to take white-collar jobs.
Yeah. Well, both will happen. AI will be, at the same time, a replacement for blue-collar, white-collar jobs, and be a great symbiotic tool for doctors, lawyers, and you, for example. But the white-collar jobs are easier to take because they're a pure quantitative analytical process. Let's say reporters, traders, telemarketing, telesales, customer service.
Analysts?
Analysts, yes. These can all be replaced just by a software. To do blue collar, some of the work requires, hand-eye coordination, things that machines are not yet good enough to do.
And so therefore, are you convinced long-term that we're going to have a jobs problem in the world?
Not long-term, but maybe in the next 10 years, within the next 10 years.
You mean it's going to happen much sooner?
Much sooner.
So you always say this is a Malthusian argument.
I do, and I thought there's going to be 3 people that need to be employed to keep each robot working.
That's what the roboticists would like you to think, so they don't have to answer to the jobs problem. But robots are clearly replacing people's jobs. They're working 24/7. They're more efficient, and they need some programming, but one programmer can program 10,000 robots. We do. So really, this is the history of AI. In the 50s, people said, we're going to figure out how the brain works, and then we're going to solve it in 10 years. And then all the expectations got built up, and then, of course, did not deliver. And people said, you liar, and then funding stopped. And again, right after my PhD thesis, people said, wow, AI is going to change the world. It's going to be not through expert systems, but through neural networks. And then, of course, it also failed to deliver. And now we're at even a higher level of expectation than ever. So I think a fair question for people to ask is this for real? Or are we going to be facing another hype? And I think if there's one single most important message is that this time it is for real. And the most important thing that happened is something called deep learning. Now, AI is big. It includes a discipline called machine learning. And machine learning is big. It includes a discipline called deep learning. Now, however, deep learning turned out to be the biggest discovery that is really reshaping many aspects of our society.
I want to ask you about shift to the future of work a little bit. This is an area that you have made some predictions, and one of your predictions is that roughly 50% of jobs will be replaced by robots over the next 10 years, actually.
Right.
That's faster than the fried chicken in the car, even.
Yeah.
So what sort of jobs will be affected, and what will happen to the people who otherwise would have filled those jobs?
Right, right. So this is based on an Oxford study where they said, I think 2 years ago, they said 50% of the jobs in 10 to 15 years. So I think I'm a little more aggressive in the estimate, so 10 years, 50%. One could project that the rate in which the jobs will be replaced, first is any job that requires less than 5 seconds of thinking, right? So a receptionist, a factory worker, with a middleman, that would be the fastest. Then it's jobs that are numeric in nature, where large data is available to make objective, quantitative yes-no decisions. So that would be traders, research analysts, insurance agents, bank officers, loan officers, and then beyond that, things that are a little more complex, but still quantitative in nature. So basically, physicians in radiology read X-rays and MRI and CT. Drivers, that's actually pretty complex, but in 10-year time frame, they'll be replaced. And then legal assistants and some lawyers and reporters.
Okay. How long do we have?
I think courts is in good shape because you're catching up with the times. You got your AI practice and you know.
Thank you.
Yeah. But some of your reporters who write shorter, put together articles.
Yeah.
Those will be done by machines. But you have to keep migrating. For all of these professions, you have to migrate to be the best in order to survive. So if you aggregate, in aggregate, you add up the types of jobs I have, that's probably close to half. I think there are 4 waves that will hit simultaneously, some earlier, some later. The first wave is called Internet AI. That is the Internet giants who have more data than anybody else, and they use that data to know everything about us, and we're labeling data for free for them every day. The Economist cover this week has the 3 American giants, Google, Facebook, and Amazon, on the powers that they have because they have more data than anyone else. They understand more about you than your government, probably than your spouse, and arguably more than yourselves. And don't doubt that. The amount of data is huge, and these internet companies will continue to come up. That is the first type of AI. Because internet has the most data, and they're automatically labeled through usage of the apps. The number 2 type of applications are business-oriented applications. This is when a bank, a hospital, an insurance company accumulates data about you and applies that data to its business process to make better business decisions. Should it give you a loan or not? Is this credit card usage fraudulent potentially? How should it recommend your asset allocation? And whether you're the type of customer to recommend this new fund or not. So those types of financial determination, whether to give you an insurance, whether this insurance claim is fraudulent or legitimate, whether a hospital scan shows signs of a cancer or cardio problems, those kinds of recognition tasks within the domains of business using data that's been accumulated is the second type of AI. And that's surely going to generate a lot of value and replace a lot of jobs. The third type of AI is getting data that didn't exist before. Contrasted with the first two waves of AI, the third wave is digitizing the physical world, collecting data where there wasn't data before, and creating usage scenarios that didn't exist before. Think about Amazon Echo collecting speech from our living rooms. We didn't think we were going to let them do that, but we are. And that data can be used for interesting applications. Look at airports that have lots of cameras. Those cameras are recognizing faces. And the face recognition can be used to prevent terrorists from entering the plane. It can also be used to approve your spending. So those types of collection, it can also be used by retail stores to better understand you. You know, online, every click and behavior is captured for better understanding to target you. Now offline, with cameras and sensors, you can also be captured and tracked, and that can be applied to real uses that will help the companies make money. That has applications in retail, clinics, hospitals, schools, everywhere. It turns offline into online, and people are tracked every minute of every day. That certainly brings up lots of privacy concerns, but it also gives people the opportunity to trade their privacy for convenience. So that is a bartering process that will happen at different paces in different countries, probably faster in China than, let's say, in here, but really creating new usage scenarios never before possible that are one-on-one targeting because the system knows who you are, it knows what you did, it knows what you want, and therefore it can make money for the merchant and it can give you a better product or service. Now, if you think that's scary, the fourth level is even scarier. That's really science fiction. While I continue to assert that machines will have no feelings and no self-awareness, they will move. Movement is not impossible. It's a little bit difficult, it's harder than software, but machines that move will go from household robots that can wash your dishes to commercial robots that can be a security guard, to industrial robots that will make the next iPhone with no human participation, to autonomous vehicles, to drones. And these will provide incredible convenience, free us from routine jobs, and also take away so many jobs that are manual labor related. So these four waves each will create an economic value in the order of trillions. and add to our GDP by 2030 on the order of 10% per wave. And it will remove jobs also at similar rates. So these are the positive and negative impacts.